Do no such thing, I beg of you, he would only send you another, formed of a magnificent sapphire, or hollowed out of a gigantic ruby. It is his way, and you must take him as you find him. At this moment the bell rang to announce the drawing up of the curtain for the second act. Albert rose to return to his place. "Shall I see you again?" asked the Countess. "At the end of the next act, with your permission, I will come and inquire whether there is anything I can do for you in Paris?" "Pray take notice," said the Countess, "that my present residence is 22 Rue de Rivoli, and that I am at home to my friends every Saturday evening." "So now, you are both forewarned." The young men bowed, and quitted the box. Upon reaching their stalls, they found the whole of the audience in the parterre standing up and directing their gaze towards the box formerly possessed by the Russian ambassador. A man of from 35 to 40 years of age, dressed in deep black, had just entered, accompanied by a young woman dressed after the Eastern style. The lady was surpassingly beautiful, while the rich magnificence of her attire drew all eyes upon her. "Hello," said Albert, "it is Monte Cristo and his Greek." The strangers were, indeed, no other than the Count and Haydée. In a few moments the young girl had attracted the attention of the whole house, and even the occupants of the boxes leaned forward to scrutinize her magnificent diamonds. The second act passed away during one continued buzz of voices, one deep whisper, intimating that some great and universally interesting event had occurred. All eyes, all thoughts, were occupied with the young and beautiful woman, whose gorgeous apparel and splendid jewels made a most extraordinary spectacle. Upon this occasion an unmistakable sign from Madame Danglars intimated her desire to see Albert in her box directly the curtain fell on the second act, and neither the politeness nor good taste of Mercier would permit his neglecting an invitation so unequivocally given. At the close of the act he therefore went to the Baroness. Having bowed to the two ladies, he extended his hand to Debray. By the Baroness he was most graciously welcomed, while Eugenie received him with her accustomed coldness. "My dear fellow," said Debray, "you have come in the nick of time. There is Madame overwhelming me with questions respecting the Count. She insists upon it that I can tell her his birth, education, and parentage, where he came from, and whither he is going. Being no disciple of Cagliostro, I was wholly unable to do this, so, by way of getting out of the scrape, I said. Ask Mercer, he has got the whole history of his beloved Monte Cristo at his fingers' ends, whereupon the Baroness signified her desire to see you. Is it not almost incredible, said Madame Danglars, that a person having at least 500,000 of Secret Service money at his command, should possess so little information? Let me assure you, madam, said Lucienne, that had I really the sum you mention at my disposal, I would employ it more profitably than in troubling myself to obtain particulars respecting the Count of Monte Cristo, whose only merit in my eyes consists in his being twice as rich as a nabob. However, I have turned the business over to Mercer, so pray settle it with him as may be most agreeable to you. For my own part, I care nothing about the Count or his mysterious doings. I am very sure no nabob would have sent me a pair of horses worth 32,000 francs, wearing on their heads 4 diamonds valued at 5,000 francs each. He seems to have a mania for diamonds, said Mercer, smiling, and I verily believe that, like Potemkin, he keeps his pockets filled, for the sake of strewing them along the road, as Tom Thumb did his flintstones. Perhaps he has discovered some mine, said Madame Danglars. I suppose you know he has an order for unlimited credit on the Baron's banking establishment? I was not aware of it, replied Albert, but I can readily believe it. And, further, that he stated to M. Danglars his intention of only staying a year in Paris, during which time he proposed to spend 6 millions. He must be the Shah of Persia, traveling incog. Have you noticed the remarkable beauty of the young woman, M. Lucienne? Inquired Eugenie. I really never met with one woman so ready to do justice to the charms of another as yourself, responded Lucienne, raising his lorgnette to his eye. A most lovely creature, upon my soul, was his verdict. Who is this young person, M. de Mercer? Inquired Eugenie. Does anybody know? Mademoiselle, said Albert, Replying to this direct appeal, I can give you very exact information on that subject, as well as on most points relative to the mysterious person of whom we are now conversing. The young woman is a Greek. So I should suppose by her dress, if you know no more than that, every one here is as well informed as yourself. I am extremely sorry you find me so ignorant a cicerone, replied Mercer, but I am reluctantly obliged to confess, I have nothing further to communicate. Yes, stay, I do know one thing more, namely, that she is a musician, for one day when I chanced to be breakfasting with the Count, I heard the sound of a gzla. It is impossible that it could have been touched by any other finger than her own. Then your Count entertains visitors, does he? Asked Madame Danglars. Indeed he does, and in a most lavish manner, I can assure you. I must try and persuade M. Danglars to invite him to a ball or dinner, or something of the sort, that he may be compelled to ask us in return. What, said Debray, laughing, do you really mean you would go to his house? Why not? My husband could accompany me. But do you know this mysterious Count is a bachelor? You have ample proof to the contrary, if you look opposite, said the Baroness, as she laughingly pointed to the beautiful Greek. No, no, exclaimed Debray, that girl is not his wife, he told us himself she was his slave. Do you not recollect, Mercer, his telling us so at your breakfast? Well, then, said the Baroness, if slave she be, she has all the air and manner of a princess. Of the Arabian Nights? If you like, but tell me, my dear Lucienne, what it is that constitutes a princess. Why, diamonds, and she is covered with them. To me she seems overloaded, observed Eugenie. She would look far better if she wore fewer, and we should then be able to see her finely formed throat and wrists. See how the artist peeps out! Exclaimed Madame Danglars. My poor Eugenie, you must conceal your passion for the fine arts. I admire all that is beautiful, returned the young lady. What do you think of the Count? Inquired Debray. He is not much amiss, according to my ideas of good looks. The Count, repeated Eugenie, as though it had not occurred to her to observe him sooner. The Count? Oh, he is so dreadfully pale. I quite agree with you, said Mercier, and the secret of that very pallor is what we want to find out. The Countess G. insists upon it that he is a vampire. Then the Countess G. has returned to Paris, has she? Inquired the Baroness.